Former Chief Justice diretsahan ngang binara ang mga congressman na tila ba mga walang malasakit sa ating bansang Pilipinas. Na tila ba ang gobyerno ngayon lang ang mayaman at pinapayaman, samantalang ang mga may hirap ay lalong nagugutom. Kailangan nga raw ata mag-aral ng mga politikong congressman ng konstitusyon natin. Mukhang ang alam lang ata nila ay basta-basta nalang makatanggap lang ng pera. Sumbat tuloy ng isang netizen, bakit maraming kulang sa kaalaman sa batas, gustong umupo sa kamera at nagiging estudyante lang ng mga abogado at mga bihasa sa batas? Mag-resign kayo. Palamuti na lang kayo sa kamera at senado. Mga galit at kahaman dahil sa pera lang tumatakbo na po. Resign, 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 congressman or woman. Sa gastos lang kayo, magaling. Wala namang resibo. At para lagi kang updated sa mga bagong upload natin, araw-araw tayo sumentro sa pagkakaisa at bagong pag-asa. Ito ang Tindig Pinas. Huwag mo ang kalimutan i-like agad ang video. At kung hindi ka pa nakapag-subscribe, isubscribe na yan!
Thank you and good afternoon, Your Honors. In the interest of time, let me go directly to the constitutional issues involved in Resolution Number 7, entitled A Resolution of Both Houses of Congress proposing amendments to certain economic provisions of the 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, particularly on Articles 12, 14, and 16. The resolutory part of the joint resolution reads as follows. Resolved by the Congress upon the vote of 3/4 of all its members, pursuant to Article 17 of the Constitution, to propose amendments to Articles 12, 14, and 16 of the 1987 Constitution, etc. What does Article 17 of the Constitution provide? It provides as follows. Section 1. Any amendment to or revision of this Constitution may be proposed by 1. The Congress upon a vote of 3/4 of all its members, or 2. A constitutional convention. The meaning and proper interpretation of Article 17, Section 1(1), which read the Congress upon a vote of 3/4 of all its members, has been the continuing subject of debates between and among law and non-law experts, and between the members of the two houses of Congress. And to date, this issue has been unresolved. Until this constitutional issue is settled, all these talks about amending certain alleged restricted economic provisions in the Constitution may just be precipitate. How did this constitutional confusion happened. It is a case of unfortunate inadvertence, a case of unfortunate inadvertence on the part of the framers of the 1987 Constitution. According to the views of former Chief Justice Hilario Davide Jr., former Associate Justice Adolf Ascuna, and Christian Monsod. Initially, they said the committee in charge of amendments thought that a unicameral Congress would be adopted. Contrary to their expectations, however, the framers adopted in the last minute a bicameral Congress. And in the rush of things, they forgot to adjust their recommendation on how to amend the Constitution in the case where Congress is bicameral and meeting as a constituent assembly. Hence, we have this so-called anomaly. Article 17, Section 1(1) saying any amendment to or revision of this Constitution may be proposed by the Congress upon a vote of 3/4 of all its members, which is fit and proper for a unicameral Congress, but not for a bicameral Congress. This unfortunate inadvertence gave birth to two opposite school of thought on how Congress, when convened as a constituent assembly, should meet and vote. That is, whether they should meet and vote jointly or separately. The first school of thought maintains that provision in the Constitution is an admitted case of inadvertence. Hence, it should be interpreted in light of the fact that we have a bicameral Congress, and we should not stray from the tradition and the practice that when their members convene as a constituent assembly, they must meet jointly and vote separately. On the other hand, there is a second school of thought. The second school of thought is espoused by Father Joaquin Bernas, himself one of the framers of the 1987 Constitution. Father Bernas posits the theory that Article 17, Section 1(1) of the Constitution merely grants Congress the power to act as a constituent assembly to amend or revise the Constitution. Let me repeat the theory of Father Bernas. His theory is that Article 17, Section 1.1 of the Constitution merely grants Congress the power to act as a constituent assembly to amend or revise the Constitution. He then submits that how the two houses shall meet, how they shall vote, whether jointly or separately, is up for the senators and the congressmen to determine by the rules that they will adopt. That is the view of Father Bernas. And so, this is our constitutional quandary, Your Honors. How to interpret this Article 17, Section 1.1 in a manner that is aligned with the intent of its framers and in accord with the will of the people when they ratified the 1987 Constitution. My impression, Your Honors, is that by and large, both houses, the Senate and the House, are adopting the Bernas interpretation of Article 17, Section 1.1. Although there remains the divisive issue of whether the two houses will vote jointly or separately. With due respect, Your Honors, you can expect a constitutional challenge with the adoption of the Bernas model and interpretation. I'm not passing judgment on the merits or the demerits of the Bernas model. I'm discussing this only in the interest of a more informative, more enlightened discussion. And let me cite just two reasons why the Bernas interpretation will be subjected to a constitutional challenge. One, the view of Father Bernas is a personal view. That view of Father Bernas was never ventilated, never discussed when the framers of the 1987 Constitution deliberated on Article 17, Section 1.1. Father Bernas floated that personal view long after the 1987 Constitution has been ratified by the people. He floated that personal view only when he wrote his commentaries on the 1987 Constitution. In construing or in interpreting the Constitution, personal views do not carry much weight, precisely because they are personal views and do not reflect the consensus arrived at by the framers of the Constitution. Secondly, Your Honors, the facts established, the uncontroverted facts, show that this Article 17, Section 1.1 is there by inadvertence, by inattention, when the framers adopted a bicameral Congress instead of a unicameral Congress. In other words, Your Honors, there is nothing in the proceedings of the Constitutional Commission that will contravene the intent to adopt the traditional way of meeting, the traditional way of voting when Congress is convened as a constituent assembly. And that is meeting jointly and voting separately. The traditional way, the classic way, is expressed in Article 6, Section 1 of the 1935 Constitution, which states, the Congress in joint session assembled by a vote of 3/4 of all the members of the Senate and of the House of Representatives voting separately may propose amendments to this Constitution. That is the classic formulation, the traditional formulation, when a bicameral Congress meets as a constituent assembly in order to amend or revise the Constitution. Again, Your Honors, in interpreting the Constitution, one of the hallowed principles is always to know the intent of the framers. And knowing that intent, to enforce and implement that intent. This hallowed principle of constitutional construction may be violated if we disregard the reality that Article 17, Section 1 of the Constitution is there by inadvertence, is there by accident, is there as a clear error, for it is intended for a unicameral and not for a bicameral Congress. The question, Your Honor, is there a way out to settle this issue? This issue that cannot be settled by the legal experts. This issue that cannot be settled by both the houses of Congress. Under our Constitution, Your Honors, And this is my humble submission. There are two ways to settle this problem. The first way is the political way. The political way is to submit this issue to the people for their judgment, either in an obligatory or a non-obligatory referendum. Let the people speak on their intent when they approve this Article 17, Section 11 of the Constitution. Is there intent for the two houses to meet jointly and vote separately? Or did they discard the traditional understanding when they approved this Article 17, Section 11 of the Constitution? It can be argued that if the people speak on this issue, whatever is their judgment cannot be reviewed by the Supreme Court because it constitutes a political question which is beyond the jurisdiction, beyond the competence of the Supreme Court. The second way, Your Honors, is the judicial way. This issue can be brought for interpretation by the Supreme Court. Needless to state, the requirements of review by the Supreme Court should all be complied with. The requirement of ripeness of the issue, the requirement of standing of the parties, the showing of grave abuse of power. If all these requirements can be complied with, I am confident that the Supreme Court will settle the issue in the exercise of its power to interpret the Constitution. Let us remember that the 87 Constitution expanded the judicial powers of the Supreme Court. Article 8, Section 1 of the 87 Constitution expanded and redefined the perimeters and parameters of judicial power. It now reads as follows. Judicial power includes the duty of the courts of justice to determine whether or not there has been a grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction on the part of any branch or instrumentality of the government. Your Honors, that phrase, grave abuse of discretion, is broad enough to allow the Supreme Court to settle this dispute. In other words, to make a proper interpretation of Article 17, Section 1 of the Constitution in an appropriate case. Your Honors, I wish I have more time to discuss my second point. on why the procedure provided in liberalizing Articles 12, 14, and 16 of the Constitution may be, again I stress the word, may be constitutionally suspect. But let me just submit this short point in the interest of time. That the use of the phrase, unless otherwise provided by law, is vulnerable to another constitutional challenge. Number one, Your Honors, allowing Congress to use its law-making powers to amend the Constitution may be questionable. Number two, the laws that will be passed by Congress for this purpose will not be approved by the people in a proper referendum. Under all our constitutions, 1935 Constitution, 1973 Constitution, and especially under the 1987 Constitution, any and all changes in the Constitution, whether they come from a constitutional convention, whether they come from a constituent assembly, or whether they come from a people's initiative, have to be approved by the people in what is known as an obligatory referendum. That approval by the people cannot be set aside, cannot be short-circuited. So, again, these are some of the constitutional problems. But again, what is the way out? My respectful submission, Your Honors, is just to do away with this phrase, unless otherwise provided by law. Just repeal these three restrictive provisions of the Constitution, which you want to be out. And in addition, you just repeal Article 2, Section 19 of the 1987 Constitution, which states, the state shall develop a self-reliant and independent national economy effectively controlled by Filipinos. Include that in the repeal. If all those provisions will be repealed, then Congress, in the exercise of its law-making power, can enact all the necessary laws in order to attract these foreign investments. By the repeal of all those provisions, you let go the power, the lawmaking power of Congress. That is, to me, how simple it is. Thank you, Your Honors. I have no time to really expand more on these submissions. And if I may be allowed, I will submit to this House a more expanded version of my position. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you very much, the Honorable former Chief Justice Reynato S. Puno.
At tumani nga ito na yung saling reaksyon mula sa mundo ng social media. Komento na nga lang din ng mga netizens sa naging issue nito. First way, let the people. Second way, judicial. Ilatag sa Supreme Court kung karapat-dapat bang palitan ng konstitusyon. Linaw yan ha mga congressmen or women. Taong bayan pa rin ang dapat manaig. Kaya pala binabayaran nyo mga tao para sa pirma ha. Repeal the 3 restrictive provisions. Thank you very much, former esteemed Chief Justice Renato S. Puno, for sharing your well-rounded, educated legal views on the provisions of the Philippine Constitution vis-a-vis the admin proposed charter change. Ayan, na-lecturean na tuloy kayo ng Chief Justice about Constitution. Dapat kasi, dumaan kayo sa tamang batas, hindi ang pansarili ng pulsa lang. Halos matanda na kayo lahat dyan sa camera. Matakot na kayo sa Diyos. Dapat gumawa kayo ng tama para sa Pilipinas.
Kasama ka ba sa operation?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, actually, sir, we were advised by our counsel. Since the case is pending under trial, and actually po kami po ang complainant laban sa kanila, nakapiyansa
No,
po
just
sila.
answer it, sir. Kasama ka ba?
Sir, I opt to invoke my right against self-incrimination.
Pero nung in-interview kita sa Wanted sa radyo, napaamin kita na kasama kayo.
Sir, under trial na po yung sinampa namin kaso laban sa kanila.
Ito nga masakit, Mr. Chair eh. Yung biktima ang makukulong pa ng di oras. Sana ma. Kapal na mukha mo. Ang kapal na mukha mo. Biniktima nyo na nga, bibiktima nyo pa sa pamagitan, ipakukulong nyo. Sasampahan nyo ng kaso. Unang-una, illegal entry. Tapos pangalawa, Mr. Chair, kukwento ko na, nakabonet mga hinayupak na to. At sabi pa ng kanilang hepe nung makausap ko, sabi ko, bakit nakabonet yung mga pulis nyo? Alam mo, sabi niya, kasi mainit dito sa Bulacan eh. Pati ako nga, nagbobonet ako eh. Recorded yan. Sinabi ng stupidong hepe ninyo. You cannot deny anymore. Kahit na nasa korte ito, kasi recorded yan eh. Kaya raw kayo nakabonet, kasi pinapayagan ng hepe ninyo na magbonet kayo sa operation dahil mainit daw. Imagine that kind of excuse, Mr. Chair. Ikaw po dating
Andito
PNP
hipe?
chief.
Andito hipe? Oh. Upo
Sir,
ka ba?
kasama dito, sir, yung honor.
Upo ka dito.
Ito masakit, Mr. Chair eh. Biniktima na nga, nabugbog na nga, nakulong pa, at ipakukulong. Kasi, Mr. Chair, sabihin ko yung what transpired after that. So, nagkaroon ng commotion because nabulaga yung may-ari ng bahay. Sino kayo at wala kayong hawak na dokumento and all. At nakabonet kayo. So pumalag, natural Mr. Chair, kahit na ikaw, baka ito akyat bahay. So dinampot po, sino dinampot dito? Si Mr. Vicente at dinala po sa kulungan dahil resisting arrest daw. Or dahil, ano tawag noon, yung direct assault or something. Direct assault. Kinulong po siya. Ngayon, binisita po siya, sino yung anak niya? Si Mr. Vicente. Karapatan niya bisitahin yung kanyang tatay. Pagdating po doon sa kulungan, pati itong si Mr. Julius Vicente, kinulong din ng mga hinayupak. Son of a bitch.
For what reason? Bakit nyo kinulong yung nagbisita? Sino nagkulong nun? Sino nagkulong?
Inaresto po
Yung
namin
bisita.
sila at may probable cause po yung pagkaka-aresto namin. Actually po, sir, undergoing po yung trial.
Lakasan mo boses mo. Huwag kang mahiya kung totoo yung sinasabi mo. Lakasan mo yung sinasabi mo.
Your Honor, isang legitimate police operation po yung nangyari. Inaresto po namin sila at ongoing po yung trial para po sa kaso na isinampa namin.
How can you say it's a legitimate operation? Number one, you were not wearing proper uniform and you were wearing bonnet. Natural, yung tao na pinasok nyo dahil wrong information binigay sa inyo at wrong house at wala kayong dalang search warrant in the first place, dapat hindi nyo pinasok yon. Illegal entry yon. Number two, wala kayong body camera. Number three, hindi nyo sinabi kung sino ang purpose ng pagpunta nyo doon. Number four, nanampal kayo. Natural, papalag yung sinampal ninyo. Gawin mo sa bahay ko yan. God forbids. Hindi nyo kayang gawin yan sa mga taong alam nyong papalag at may kakayang pumalag. Ginagawa nyo kasi mga pobre. Gawin nyo kayo sa bahay ni Senator Bato de la Rosa yan. Pasukin yung bahay ni Senator Bato, tapos sabihin nyo, search warrant para kay Juan de la Cruz. Baka niratat kayo ni Senator Bato. Gets mo? Kaya nyo nagawa dito kasi alam nyo, walang kakayang lumaban. Pobre. Ang masaklap, pinasok nyo na nga, ginawa nyo na po ng illegal, binayolate nyo ng kanyang karapatan, at ngayon, kasampang pa ng kaso, ang kapal na mukha mo. Ang kapal na mukha mo, hinayupak ka. Napakakapal na mukha mo, Teniente.
Comsec, you delete those words, ha? Yung,
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Your Honor, kasi alam na alam ko tong kaso. Lumapit sa akin yung mga victims, Your Honor. Ito po, okay, pakisagot na lang. So, dumalaw itong si Mr. Julius Vicente, ikaw na magkwento. So, nasa kulungan na po yung papa mo, di ba?
Opo.
Dumalaw po kayo.
Opo. Tinanong ko po kung dun po ba talaga dinala tatay ko. Tapos, ginawa po nila, binitbit po nila ako.
anong rason? Bakit daw kayo
Hindi ko nga
binibit?
po alam kung bakit.
Ha? So nakakulong ka?
Kinulong po nila ako.
Nakailang araw ka sa kulungan?
1 linggo din po.
Bakit ka nakalabas?
Nag-bail po.
Nag-bail ka?
Opo.
Por anong kaso?
Direct assault po.
Nakipagsuntukan ka sa mga pulis doon sa loob ng istasyon?
Magagawa ko po ba yun? Ang lalaki ng mga katawan po niyan.
Bakit naman nakikasulta?
Kaya Mr. Che, mapapamura kay. Pumunta lang itong pobre para hanapin yung kanyang tatay kung nandun nakakulong. Of course, pwede ba siya mag-direct assault? Istasyon ng pulis yun. And then, kinulong siya, kinasuhan ng direct assault.
Sino nagkulong sa'yo?
Si
Yung
Bernardo
kalbo.
po.
Ay, yung walang buhok.
Dinadamay mo pa ako dito, Mr. Kuan, ha? Bernardo. Hindi, ito ha. This is investigation in aid of legislation. Kahit na ongoing na yung kaso nyo sa korte, lahat ng tatanong dito sa inyo para dito sa kaso na ito, in aid of legislation, kung hindi naman incriminating sa'yo, you can answer the question. To give clarity, para sabihin ng tao na wala ka tinatago. Nakakaya naman naka-uniforme ka, tapos puro ka lang dyan na invoke my right to against self-incrimination. Tapos ang tanong naman is hindi naman makaka-incriminate sa'yo. Ito yung mga factual questions kung leading to that incident. Yun lang naman
Yes,
ang
Your
matanong
Honor,
dito.
sir.
Hindi ka naman didiin dito. So, sagutin mo lang kung
Your-
anong...
Your Honor, allegation po nila yun. Yung pagkaka-aresto po sa kanila sa site, yun po ang nasa affidavit at yun po ang tunay na nangyari.
Hindi, ganito. Pidabit na naman ang
Opo, sir.
basihan mo sa pidabit. Yung, mamaya na yan. Tanungin lang muna kita dito. Wala akong pakialam doon sa ama. Ha? Yung anak na pumunta sa estasyon, bakit nyo kinulong?
Wala pong katotohanan yun, Honor. Sa site po sila na-aresto.
Saan?
Sa site po, malapit po doon sa pinangyarihan ng assault nila sa akin.
Pati itong anak na bumisita sa
Yes,
estasyon?
Your Honor.
Oh, so doon ka daw sa set na
Hindi po, Your Honor. Kita naman po sa CCTV po yun.
may CCTV kayo?
Opo,
Na hindi ka hinuli doon sa
Opo,
site?
Hindi po, siya lang po.
Siya lang.
Tatay ko lang po yung hinuli nila.
Mr. Chair, i-contempt natin to. Kung mapakita natin CCTV, na hindi ka sa site.
CCTV. Tingnan mo natin. Para
pakita sa CCTV, I want to put this guy in contempt.
Saan yung CCTV? Can we show the CCTV?
Mr. Julius, ayan. Meron ka? Pakibigay. Kasi kung merong video na ikaw ay hinuli, hindi doon sa site, tulad ng sinasabi ni Mr. Bernardo, I would like to hold him in contempt at gusto ko siyang makulong sa baba, Mr. Chair.
Yes, but before I
nga, yung
roll
video
on your
muna.
motion, I would like
Yes.
to
Yes, Mr. Chair.
watch the video. Saan galing ang video mo, Julius?
Sa kapitbahay po namin na naka-direct yung po sa bahay namin yung CCTV po.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir Julius, yung video na ikaw ay hinuli hindi doon sa site kundi outside, away from the site.
Hindi po. Bali po yung hawak ko pong video po na tatay ko lang po hinuli, tas nandun po ako na papaalis pa lang para sundan po ang tatay ko.
Okay.
Nakatunayan pong hindi po ako doon hinuli sa mismong
Site.
site po.
Okay, so
Tingnan natin yung video.
kasi when you say site, Mr. Chair, doon sa bahay na kung saan sabi nila nakita nila yung may information sila nandoon yung subject ng warrant. Yun yung site. So, tingnan natin po yung video.
Yan na po, palabas na po ako dyan. Ayun po, yung naka-stripe po.
Saan?
Sa gilid po. Kukunin ko po dyan yung motor ko po.
Alis na mga pulis.
Opo.
So take note, Mr. Chair, wala na yung mga pulis.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Contrary to what Teniente Bernardo said na he was arrested on
Ayan
site.
po, yung nakamotor.
Bingo.
Diyan pa po kami sa site yan, sir, kasi inaantay po namin yung uniform personnel namin. Saka po yung magsasakay sa arrested personnel. Andiyan pa po kami, sir. Andiyan pa po kami, sir. Malapit lang po dyan, sir. Isang block lang po yan, sir. Eh.
Tapos,
Sumunod po siya, kaya po siya inaresto namin, sir. Eh. Ina-assault pa po. Lumalaban pa po yan doon nung nandun po kami, sir.
ano totoo? Diyan ka hinuli sa unahan o sa estasyon?
Sa istasyon po. Doon
Ikaw?
po pagkadating
Saan
po.
mo hinuli?
Po sa site, sir, sa block po na yan, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Excuse me po, Mr. Chairman. Para malinawan po, yung CCTV ng station, pakuha niyo po yun. Doon niya makikita ang lahat ng kasinungalingan yan.
Wala namang CCTV loob ng police station nila. Meron? Wala. Oh, Hepe.
Mayroong CCTV doon, sir. Pero yung hindi matagal yung pag-records niyan, sir. Ang nangyari kanina, sir, nalaman na lang namin na may insidente ganun after how many days? 12 days? O nakalabas na sila noon, sir, nung nalaman ko na may sinasabi sila ng insidente na ganun, sir.
That's, Chair, nag-file po ako ng Jails and Prisons Monitoring Act na required ang lahat ng presinto, lahat ng kulungan may CCTV for the protection, of course, the jail wardens and protection of yung mga taong, mga suspect na dinadala doon. Now, very clear to me, Mr. Chair, wala na po sa site. Kasi when you say site, within that vicinity, plus wala na yung police, he can always lie. He's lying to his teeth na nandyan pa rin sila. Given nandyan pa rin sila, pero wala na sa site. Ang site meaning, kung saan yung sinerve supposed to be yung illegal, pag-serve ng illegal ng warrant. That's the site, Mr. Chair. Wala na sa video, nakaalis na itong si Mr. Julius Vicente, napalayo na siya. So, hindi sa site.
Taruhin ko, how many meters away from that yung picture na yan na hinuli mo yung
Sir, actually po, hindi pa po kami nakakalabas dyan sa block na yan kasi inantay po namin yung sasakyan plus yung uniform personnel po.
saan kayo
namin, sir.
banda? Saan kayo banda dyan?
Doon po, sir, sa unahan po dyan, sir.
Tapos,
Sumunod po siya, sir, para hindi pa po sila tumitigil dyan, sir. Kaya inaresto na rin po siya, sir. Bukod po doon sa naunang pag-assault nila sa akin, sir, hindi naman po sila tumitigil pa dyan, sir.
kung sabi mo,
Hindi po totoo yun, sir.
hindi
Mr.
ka
Chair.
hinuli doon sa kalsada?
Hindi po.
Doon ka hinuli sa estasyon talaga?
Opo. Makikita naman po yun sa kung may CCTV
Mr. Chair,
po
pwede
doon.
ako
Yes, yes.
Are you willing to submit yourself to a polygraph test, both of you?
Your Honor, I will consult first our lawyers.
Ikaw, willing po kayo, Mr. Vicente?
Ang alam ko.
Mag-submit ng polygraph test, lie detector test
Opo.
na para mapatunayan kung ikaw ay nagsinungaling o nagsabi na totoo.
Opo,
Willing ka?
Opo.
Ikaw, you will consult your lawyer.
Yes, Your Honor, ipagbaya po namin sa trial yung
You see, Mr.
Hindi
Justice?
nga, wag mo nang muna yung trial. Dito muna tayo. Dito muna tayo. So, ayaw mo mag-polygraph. Ayaw mo.
magtatanong po muna kami sa counsel namin, sir.
Eh, bakit kayo magtatanong kung wala ka tinatago? Ito, sibilyan na sibilyan. Walang problema. Magpa-polygraph test siya kung nagsinungaling siya. Malaman man natin doon na nagsinungaling siya na according to him, doon siya sa loob ng stasyon hinuli. Okay siya. Ikaw, ayaw mo. Mag-lawyer ka pa. Okay lang.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I will, sir. I will
Very good.
submit
Okay.
myself for polygraph test, sir.
Ayun. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So,
Maliwanag ha. Kanina sinabi mo doon sa scene mismo, hinuli mo. Ngayon na nakita natin dyan sa CCTV na umalis siya, na hindi nyo hinuli, hahabol siya sa estasyon, meron ka na naman ngayong bagong bersyon na sa unahan mo hinuli dahil nandun pa kayo sa unahan, hindi pa kayo nakaalis.
Yes, sir. Yun po ang nasa affidavit namin. Doon po namin sila
Ay,
hinuli,
nandiyan ka
sir.
naman sa affidavit mo. I am not asking about your affidavit. I am asking about the real incident, facts of the case. Yan.
Ito na lang po, sir, para maintindihan po na lahat, sir. So, ang nangyari, sir, habang naglalakbay itong yung suspect natin, sir, si Sergeant Sabilio, sir, Police Corporal Sabilio, doon sa kabaan ng Southville, 8B, sir. So, napansin niya itong si John S. Umpad na nakasakay din ng motor at pinahinto niya, sir. Nung pinahinto, sir, tinanong kung mayroong papel yung kanyang motor. So sa inakala nung victim, sir, si John S. Umpad, na kasi nagpapakilalang pulis, sir, inignore niya, sir, at umalis siya doon sa lugar. Hanggang sa sinundan siya nitong pulis nito, sir. Pero itong pulis nito, sir, ay naka-off duty po, sir. Hindi po siya naka-duty.
Naka-uniforme?
Negative, sir. Naka-civilian na po, sir.
Civilian.
At mayroon siyang backride, sir, na yung isang suspect din, sir. So habang pauwi sila, sir, doon sa bahay nitong biktima, sir, ay nung pagkaliko niya doon sa mismong bahay niya, kasi yung bahay nila, sir, halos kanto lang din, sir, nung pagitan. So nung paliko sila doon, sir, ay agad-agad niya na huminto doon, bumaba at kinatok yung bahay nila, sir, at agad naman itong dumating itong pulis natin, sir. Nung dating ng pulis doon, sir, ay biglang tinanggal niya yung helmet at ibinato doon sa suspect, sir. Yun yung kaya natumba yung sir, yung motor, ay bumunot naman ito ng baril, sir. Akma naman, sir, nung pagbunot niya ng baril, sir, saka naman lumabas yung nakababatang kapatid ni Ace, sir, na si si Francis, no? Ay pinutukan niya. Kaya yun ang tinamaan, sir, dito sa tiyan, sir. Pero nakatakas po si John A, sir.
What prompted the shooting?
Nag-start doon sa paninita, sir.
Yung pagputok nga doon na sa bahay.
Yes, sir. Nung binato ng helmet, sir.
Binato ng helmet yung
Dalawa, sir, yung suspect, sir. Na
Okay.
natumba, sir.
binato ng helmet.
Yes, sir.
Pagbato,
Nung pagbato, sir, di natumba.
tumba.
Yes, sir. No, kaya nung bumangon, sir, may binunot na baril.
Si
So, according dito kay sir, kay John A, sir, yung nagda-drive, sir, which is yung police po natin, sir.
bunot ng baril.
Yes, sir. At
Tapos?
pinutukan. So, instead na, kasi sir, nung kinatukan niya, sir, agad naman na bumangon to yung kapatid niya, siguro tulog kasi mga alas 12 na, sir, eh. Pasado na, sir, eh. Nung lumabas, saka nung pagputok niya, sir, yun ang tinamaan yung kapatid. Yung nakababata niya kapatid, sir, na dito naman tinamaan sa may tiyan, sir.
Patay.
Dinala pa muna sa hospital, sir.
Oh.
Tapos sir, namatay din sa hospital, sir.
So, nasaan ito ngayon si Sabilio?
Sir, yung ating pong pulis, sir, ay nakadetain po, sir, sa BGMP ng Rodriguez, sir.
Naka-detain
Opo, sir.
for the case of
Ang kaso niya ngayon,
Homicide.
sir, is Hindi sir, ang kaso niya ngayon sir is murder and with the attempted murder sir.
Murder.
Sir,
attempted
naging
murder.
complex crime po sir.
Si Jeffrey Bagyo, nasaan ito?
Nakadetain din po sir.
Silang dalawa.
Yes sir.
Anong kaso?
Ganon din sir, ganon din po sir.
So, yeah, go ahead, Senator Tulfo.
Okay, dito makikita na naman din nasunod yung police operational procedure at nakikinig po si Attorney Bernardo maging yung Commission of Human Rights, they're all here. Very common na ito sa ating kapulisan. Unfortunately, it happens again and again and again. And if you remember, nagkaroon tayo ng isang hearing na ganito, Mr. Chair, na kung saan naninita po yung mga pulis ng walang probable cause ng mga nakamotorsiklo. Palaging tinatarget yung motorsiklo, pero pag yung kotse, hindi nila kayang parahin. Ang pinapara yung motorsiklo, hinahanapan ng registration, etc. When in fact, there's no probable cause na para parahin yung motor. So, I would like to ask Colonel Piquero, may probable cause ba? Sabihin na natin, sige, siya ay police. Okay, sige, nakasibilyan. May karapatan siya manita. Siguro nakita niya probable cause na kailangan sitahin. Ano yung probable cause para parahin niya yung nakamotor? Sir.
Actually sir, wala siya probable cause sir kasi naka-off duty siya sir.
Yes, General, sir.
Your Honor, hindi po namin kinakatil yung police namin. But yung binanggit nyo niya kanina na we violated yung POP, yung police po natin at that time is off duty po yung police po natin.
So in other words,
naka-civilian siya.
wala po siyang karapatan na manita.
Exactly po.
Ito, medyo kakampihan ko ng konti yung police. Okay, pero kung meron siyang nakitang probable cause na parasitahin dahil bilang police, halimbawa may nakasukbit na baril o may daladalang samurai, pwede siguro parahin niya yon kahit siya ay civilian, kahit na hindi siya, kahit siya off duty. Tama? Pero this time, walang probable cause talaga.
Opo, sir. Pwede po niyang sitahin yon kung may nakita po siya. Kahit off duty siya.
Mga pulis kayo nanonood sa atin ba? Baka sa babalik naman yung mentality na off duty ako. Hindi ako pwedeng manghuli. 24 hours tayong pulis. Di ba? Off duty ka or on duty ka, pag swear mo, kahit na anong oras, kahit off duty ka, sinumpaan mo yan. Nag-oath ka na police, you have to enforce the law. Kaya, baka mamaya, mayroon na naman kayo magsabi, oh, off duty ako, hindi ako magtrabaho. Kahit na may nakita siyang krimen. Di ba?
Yes,
So,
sir.
yun lang isitil natin ngayon dito.
Yeah.
Hindi porque off duty or on duty ka, hindi ka pwede manghuli. No. Police ka, 24 hours a day. Clear? Clear tayo dyan, ha?
Opo, sir.
Okay, so yun lang ang gusto ni Senator Tulfo, yung probable cause, kung may nakita ba sila o na dapat hulihin, dapat parahin o pinagtripan lang ng police o ano. So yun ang gusto niyang klaruhin ngayon.
Yes, Your Honor.
And
And,
with that, I would
sir,
like
may
to,
idadagdag
I
po
would like
ako.
to commend General Lucas and Colonel Piquero dahil nakita ko naman po talaga, tinututok ko itong kasong to. Tulad sinabi nila, they don't cuddle, hindi po nila kinukonsinti yung kamalian ng kanilang kabaro. For that, General Lucas, I really salute you. Colonel, saludo po ako sa inyong dalawa. Go ahead, General. You would like
Marami
to say
pong
something?
salamat. Idadagdag ko po, sir. That time na nanita itong si Sabilio, lasing po siya, Your Honor.
Isa pa yun. Lasing pa talaga. So, siguro it's about time na isingit natin doon sa police operational procedure yung tamang panita, kung wala pa, Mr. Chair, and then magkaroon tayo ng steep penalty doon sa mga nagkakamali ng mga pulis, lalo na yung pagpapara sa mga motor. Kasi Mr. Chair, siguro ikaw nakakapansin nito, ikaw nagbumotor din. Siyempre, walang papara kay Senator Bato de la Rosa, dating chief PNP. Pero pag yung mga ordinaryong rider ba, Mr. Chair, makikita mo kung isang pila-pila yung mga nakamotor. Tapos may mga pulis naghahanap ng rehistro. So sinisingle out po yung mga motorcycle. Samantala yung mga kotse, kung gusto nyo manita, kung yung motor ba ay nakaw hindi, ganun din dapat gawin nyo sa mga kotse para pantay-patas.
Yun nga ang, kung magbasa ka sa social media, halos yan palagi laman ng mga reklamo ng mga tao. Bakit daw yung motor lang ang sinisita? Tapos yung mga kotse hindi daw sinisita. So, ako naman, ako lang, ang explanation ko lang dyan, sa akin on my part, sabi ko, random yung chine-check nila, random, pinipili lang nila kung sinong gusto lang isita, hindi lang sisita lahat. Pero, sa'yo yan, kung ikaw ay police. Pero doon sa ordinaryong civilian, ang sama niyan, very discriminatory ang dating. Di ba? Kasi, pareho lang naman kami pwede. Bakit ang four wheels ba hindi pwede mag-commit ng krimen? Baka mas marami pang kontraband ang loob ng kotse na yan dahil kotse yun. Ako, motor lang ako. Bakit ako palagi sinisita? So yun ngayon ang hinaing ng mga kababayan natin na nagbumotor. Yeah, go ahead.
Your Honor, allow me to answer kung bakit karamihan ng sinisita natin po ay yung mga nakamotor. Based sa statistics po namin dito sa 4A, karamihan po ng crimes are being perpetrated by motorcycle riding person. So, yun po yung tinututukan natin. Almost 80% po ng crimes.
Pero
Thank you po.
tulad sinabi po, General, ni Senator De La Rosa, discriminatory pa rin. Dapat, kung gusto niyo mag-check ng kontrabando o maybe this person is carrying a contraband, mas lalo na sa kotse. Yan sinasabi ko noon pa eh. Diba? Yung kotse pwede pa magdadyan ng M16, M203, diba? Sa trunk. Samantalang yung motor, hindi. So dapat, para hindi discriminatory, lahat across the board para hindi po lumilitaw na tayo ay nagdi-discriminate. Napolcom, for the meantime, habang nagpapasa po ako ng bill pertaining to this, can you put a stop to police officers manning checkpoints na ang sinisita lang yung mga motor at yung mga kotse ginugo? Kung magninita sila, lahat dapat para pantay.
Before you answer, Attorney Bernardo, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Jingo Estrada. Pasalamat yung tatlo at nakaalis na bago dumating si Senator Jingo eh. Nanganganib yun sila kung dumating ito maaga. Thank you for coming, Your Honor. Thank you. You have the floor, Senator Attorney Bernardo.
Salamat
Attorney
po.
Alberto Bernardo ng Napolcom, sir.
Thank you po, Ginong Senator. Tinitignan ko nga po itong PNP operational procedure kung kailan dapat mag-conduct ng flag down vehicles. Totoo po na dapat pareho lamang. Hindi yung motorsiklo at dapat kasama rin yung mga sedan vehicles. Lalo na po kung mayroong crimes committed within the vicinity at kung kailan magkakandak po ng checkpoint. Tama po.
So, meaning for me, Attorney Alberto Bernardo, sir, so siguro mag-issue kayo ng memorandum hanggat hindi pa napapasa yung batas na bill ko, hindi pa naging batas, put a stop doon sa pag-checkpoint. Kung minsan, Mr. Chair, kahit na hindi checkpoint, basta pupunta sa isang kanto, makusundahan lang ng mga polis kung saan kanto lang sila at doon, nagpapara ng mga motor. Pila-pila yung mga motor, mga rider. So, ipapatigil po natin yan. Maliban ng tama kayo kung in pursuit of a criminal, a crime just happened, so naglalagay ka ng checkpoint and choke point, acceptable po yan. Diba? Pero lahat, hindi lang po yung motor, pati mga kotse. Kasi mali mo, baka yung nakamotor na running away from the crime scene, baka sumakay na ng kotse. So, dapat lahat po. Pwede ba tayo mag-issue ng ganung memorandum, Napolcom? Sir?
Yes, Your Honor. We will issue a corresponding Napolcom resolution to that effect, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Kasi po, I filed the Senate Bill 1977, Checkpoint Regulation Act. So sige po. So hopefully in the next few weeks, makakatanggap na po kami ng memorandum na yan and then i-distribute po natin sa lahat ng police station sa buong Pilipinas.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
At kasama po doon, syempre, pag nag-checkpoint, yung bang, pag sa mga sasakyan, mag sa motor, yung plain view doctrine. Huwag po pinapababa. Kasi may mga insidente rin, Mr. Chair, pinabababa yung mga sakay, kinakapkapan. Dapat po naka-specify din, dapat well-lighted area, may supervisor, tapos may nakalagay checkpoint, yung ganun po, Attorney Bernardo.
Yes, Your Honor. We will see to it that the exception to search warrant, warrantless arrest will also be observed in the case of stop and freeze, in the case of moving vehicle, in the case of checkpoint. We will consolidate and try to find a good operational procedure for the benefit of the public and the PNP, Your Honor.
Yung PNP dapat constant reminder din sa mga tao nyo yung plain view doctrine. Kasi palagi nababiolate eh pag may checkpoint. Kasi kung kinapkapan ninyo dyan na wala kayong plain view na nakikita, kung kakasuhan kayo, pwede kayo magkakaso talaga. Yung mga kababayan natin ngayon nakikinig, pwede kayo nila ireklamo yung pulis o yung sundalo o sino mang nagka-checkpoint sa kanila na binabiolate yung plain view doctrine. Di ba? Ayun, kayo i-open. Paki-open na nga yung kuan mo. Oh, bakit ko i-open? Sino ka para magpa-open sa akin ng aking sasakyan? Sasakyan ko ito eh. Di ba? Dapat ang checkpoint plain view doctrine lang. Kung may nakita kayo na nakabukol, ayun, may probable cause ka na kapkapan. Pero kung wala naman, bakit mo kapkapan? You are violating my privacy. Di ba? So dapat remind palagi ang pulis natin yung plain view doctrine. Yan ang palaging nababiolate at alam natin na may tama ang pulis kapag sila ikinasuhan dyan sa plain view doctrine. Right.
Mr. Chair, ito sa lahat ng mga pulis, wala namang masama kung kayo po'y magpara ng mga nakamotor, pero dapat may probable cause. Halimbawa, nakita nyo na walang headlight, o nakita nyo na yung motor, tabingi yung plaka o walang plaka, yun, probable cause yun, para pwede siyang parahin, nasitahin, ba't wala kang plaka, yung mga ganon. Hindi yung basta't parang baka makatsamba ng walang rehistro o expired rehistro, saka impound yung sakyan, bawal po yun. So ngayon, rules of engagement, dito malinaw na hindi nasunod yung tinatawag na rules of engagement. Yung mga pulis natin, baril muna sa kapapaliwanag. Dapat, kayong mga pulis, gagamitin nyo lang inyong baril kung nakita nyo na yung suspect o yung tao hinahabol ninyo ay armed and dangerous as well kung nakipagbarilan sa inyo. Pag tumatakbo na yung tao, huwag nyo nang habulin. Sa maraming insidente, tumatakbo na po yung suspect o yung tao hinahabol, pinagbabaril pa rin. Hindi na po nasunod yung rules of engagement. Yun siguro po, Attorney Bernardo, magpasa rin po kayo ng memorandum tungkol dyan na strictly observe yung tinatawag na rules of engagement. Sir.
Yes, Your Honor. We will update issuance of the NAPOLCOM and the PNP operational procedure on the matter.
Nasa operational procedure po yan, no, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Siguro, but just a reminder again, sir, na recently, palaging nangyari na ito, nababiolate na itong rules of engagement, paki-seminar every now and then, ang yung mga tauhan nyo to remind them, parang something to that effect, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Nasa rules of police operational procedures natin yan. I don't know what particular section, pero nakalagay talaga yan doon yung graduated use of force, di ba? Bakit mo babarilin yung tao na tinapunan ka lang ng helmet, babarilin mo na, di ba? Talagang yung sinabi mo pa na lasing, kaya wala sa tamang pag-iisip dahil lasing yung tao. Lasing, kaya dubli-dubli talaga ang kaso ng tao na yun.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, isa na lang. Now, sunod is yung Miranda Doctrine. Dapat memorize ng mga pulis nyo yun. Sampulan ko si Police Corporal J. Mariam, bigkas nga po yung Miranda Doctrine.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say might be used and can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to have own counsel of your own choice. If you cannot afford, the government will give you once free.
Dapat ma-promote ito.
Magaling, investigator Investigator, kaya alam na alam niya yung Miranda Doctrine.
Kasi marami sa mga pulis natin, Mr.
At sa naging isyong ito, ano ang iyong naging reaksyon? Pag-imalayam at bigay ng kanilang personal opinion sa comment section. At hanggang sa muli, tayo sa metro sa pagkakaisa at bagong pag-asa. Ito ang Tindig Pinas. Huwag mo kalimutan i-like agad ang video. At kung hindi ka pa nakapag-subscribe, i-subscribe na yan.